The cabin suddenly goes quiet. The loud roar of the engines disappears. And for the first time, thousands of meters above the ground, an airliner sounds almost like a giant bird gliding through the sky. Every passenger notices something has changed. The question is, does silence mean disaster, or does it mean the pilots are about to prove why commercial aviation is one of the safest ways to travel? Welcome back to Ray Maps Discovery, where we uncover how the world's most incredible technology works. If you're fascinated by aviation, engineering, and the science behind everyday machines, subscribe to Ray Maps Discovery and join us for more videos like this. Now, imagine you're flying at 37,000 feet over the United States. Maybe you're crossing Texas, Colorado, or the Atlantic Ocean. Without warning, both engines stop producing thrust. It sounds impossible, but it has happened before. Surprisingly, losing both engines does not mean the airplane immediately falls out of the sky. A commercial airplane is not like a stone. It is designed to glide. The wings continue producing lift as long as the aircraft has enough speed. In fact, a modern Boeing 737 or Airbus A320 can glide for roughly 120 kilometers after losing engine power from cruising altitude. That gives pilots valuable time to search for an airport or another safe landing area. The first few seconds are critical. Warning alarms sound inside the cockpit, and pilots immediately recognize the loss of thrust. They don't panic because they train for this exact situation repeatedly in flight simulators. Every commercial airline pilot practices dual-engine failure before carrying passengers. The pilot's first priority is simple: keep the airplane flying. They lower the nose slightly to maintain the best gliding speed. Flying too slowly could cause a stall, while flying too fast wastes precious altitude. Finding that perfect speed allows the aircraft to travel the greatest possible distance without engines. But what could make both engines fail at the same time? One of the most famous causes is birds. In 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 struck a flock of Canada geese just after taking off from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Both engines were severely damaged within seconds. Captain Chesley Sullenberger realized there wasn't enough altitude to return to the airport. Instead, he glided the aircraft and landed safely on the Hudson River. All 155 people survived. Bird strikes are rare, but they're not the only cause. Severe volcanic ash can shut down jet engines because melted ash coats internal engine components. Fuel contamination can stop engines from receiving clean fuel. In extremely rare cases, fuel exhaustion has also caused both engines to stop. Once the engines fail, many people think electricity disappears too. That's not true. Commercial aircraft have multiple backup systems. A small device called the ram air turbine, often called the RAT, automatically deploys on many aircraft. It looks like a small propeller extending into the airflow beneath the airplane. As air rushes past, it spins and generates hydraulic pressure and electrical power for essential flight controls and instruments. This means pilots still have important displays, radios, and controls even without engine power. Essential systems remain alive, giving the crew a fighting chance to land safely. The pilots then contact air traffic control and declare an emergency. Controllers immediately clear other aircraft from the area and begin identifying the closest suitable airports. Weather, runway length, terrain, and wind direction suddenly become incredibly important. If the engine stopped because of fuel interruption or certain types of flameout, pilots may even restart them in the air. Jet engines are designed with restart procedures. As the aircraft glides, air flowing through the engine can spin internal components fast enough for a restart attempt if fuel and engine conditions allow it. This has happened successfully before. In several real incidents, pilots managed to restart one or both engines while descending, restoring thrust before landing. If restarting isn't possible, the glide continues. Pilots calculate whether they can reach a runway. Modern flight computers help estimate glide distance based on altitude, wind, and aircraft weight, but pilots are also trained to perform these calculations manually if necessary. One remarkable example happened in Canada in 1983. In Air Canada, Boeing 767 ran out of fuel because of a fuel measurement error. The aircraft became known as the Gimli Glider. The pilots glided the powerless jet to an abandoned Air Force base and landed safely. Despite having no engine thrust, almost everyone survived. So what happens inside the cabin during all this? Flight attendants are informed immediately. They prepare passengers for a possible emergency landing. Passengers are instructed to fasten seat belts tightly, remove sharp objects, and follow the brace position if instructed. Staying calm is extremely important because panic can create additional danger during landing. Can pilots land a large airplane without engines? Yes, but it requires incredible precision. Without thrust, pilots get only one chance. If they descend too early, they may fall short of the runway. Too high, and they may overshoot. Every turn costs altitude, so they carefully plan a smooth approach. The landing itself is usually faster than a normal landing because there is no engine power available to correct mistakes. Pilots aim directly for the touchdown zone and use the aircraft's remaining energy wisely. What if both engines fail over the ocean? That's one of the toughest scenarios. Pilots still glide as far as possible while heading toward the nearest airport or coastline if reachable. If no runway is within range, they prepare for a controlled water landing, known as ditching. Aircraft are designed with procedures to improve survival during ditching, and flight attendants prepare passengers for evacuation. Many people believe airplanes need engines to stay in the air every second. In reality, engines provide thrust while the wings provide lift. As long as the aircraft is moving through the air at the correct speed, lift continues to support the airplane. That's why gliding is possible. The chances of both engines failing are extremely low. Modern jet engines are among the most reliable machines ever built. Airlines inspect them constantly. Sensors monitor performance during every flight, and maintenance crews replace components long before they become dangerous. Even when the unexpected happens, commercial aviation is built around layers of backup systems, training, and procedures. That's why stories like the Hudson River landing and the Gimli glider are remembered not as miracles alone, but as examples of engineering and human skill working together under extreme pressure. The next time you hear the engines humming during a flight, remember this. Even in the unlikely event that both engines stop, the airplane doesn't simply fall from the sky. It becomes a glider, and a highly trained crew immediately begins working through a carefully practiced plan to bring everyone home safely. If you enjoyed this aviation story, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who loves airplanes, and subscribe to Ray Maps Discovery for more fascinating technology and aviation videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next discovery.